Yo, these so bored otherwise. They're like, yo, nah, I ain't gonna lie. It was funner when Drake was dropping it like the industry. Yeah, you had this leprechaun coming on this line, starting the Me Too wave, talking about he had this, he had that, weird case. I bet the whole industry down right now, man. It's like in Batman when they start showing this Gotham City. Yo, we have the bat signal. Where is Drake? The crime is getting out of control. What didn't y'all say y'all tired of Batman and he was a menace too? Oh, nah, we not tired of him no more. Come back, Batman, come back. I try to tune into Elliot Wilson's show. He ain't got nothing to talk about.
The decline of Drake and Akademiks has been unfolding like a slow-motion car crash that the entire culture can't look away from. Once seen as untouchable figures, Drake, the chart-dominating superstar with a decade-long winning streak, and Akademiks, the loudest digital voice in hip-hop media, both now find themselves at the center of chaos, backlash, and self-inflicted embarrassment. What began as playful antics has spiraled into a string of humiliations, public meltdowns, and tone-deaf moments that have reshaped how fans see them. The latest chaos started during Drake's birthday celebrations, where his behavior had fans questioning if the pressure of recent months had finally caught up to him. Between the ongoing Kendrick Lamar beef, a declining public image, and whispers about internal label drama, the once polished and composed Drake seemed to unravel in real time. From leaked videos of him stumbling around his private party to off-key concert moments where he tried to clap back at Kendrick's fans, the image of dominance that once defined him is starting to crumble.
Give me 5 minutes. I'm gonna be over this bitch. Drake asked me that. I want to tell y'all, this is how really gangster we keep it. And this is why I keep trying to tell y'all, the nigga who you claim is not gangster, I keep him more gangster than all y'all niggas. You know, Drake hit me and he said, yo, Ak, yo, did them niggas press you? Like, were you scared? And I'm like, I hit Drake, I said, what are you talking about, brother? He says, I know you told him that I'm writing your captions? I said, Drake, them niggas was recording in the corner. I had my security. Dave Free was with his security. Nothing crazy happened. I said, did you hear an audio? Because I know they recorded it. But clearly SZA hit him up. And I'm telling this now because, like, yo, I hate when people play with me. Like, I'll expose all you niggas.
Meanwhile, DJ Akademiks, who built his entire reputation by amplifying controversy, seems to be sinking right alongside Drake. Their alliance, once mutually beneficial, has turned into a serious liability. Akademiks' public defense of Drake throughout the Kendrick feud made him look less like an objective commentator and more like a desperate hype man trying to stay relevant. His rants, filled with insults toward other rappers and journalists, have drawn heavy backlash. Fans now accuse him of losing all objectivity and turning into a caricature of himself, a man addicted to drama for clicks. His frequent live streams defending Drake, sometimes while visibly intoxicated, have only added to the mess. Every new clip seems to go viral for the wrong reasons, painting him as unhinged and reckless. When combined with Drake's own string of questionable public moments, the two now represent what many fans call the crash-out era of mainstream rap. Drake's unpredictable concerts. Drake's recent concerts have only made things worse. What was once a well-oiled machine of hits, charisma, and stage control has become unpredictable and awkward. He's been seen stopping shows to call out random audience members, ranting about the industry, and even throwing subliminals at Kendrick Lamar long after their feud had publicly cooled down. Instead of looking confident, Drake appears frustrated. The crowd reactions are often lukewarm, and the internet clips are brutal. Fans are starting to notice how drastically the tone has shifted. Gone is the slick, untouchable artist who once dominated every headline. In his place stands a man visibly tired, irritated, and perhaps aware that his empire is starting to shake. The Drake who once played chess now seems to be moving impulsively, reacting instead of leading. And as he spirals, Akademiks amplifies every misstep, either defending it or ranting about haters, digging both of them deeper into the pit of public scrutiny that they created themselves. The tension between Drake and the public didn't start overnight. It's been slowly building through a series of miscalculations, questionable associations, and tone-deaf moves.
Hey, the big topic out of me saying that Wabi wanted to do some joint with Drake. You know why? There ain't nothing that exciting. Drake went on tour, he leaving y'all alone? Go talk about Deutsche. Y'all want to talk about Deutsche? Deutsche popping. They don't want to talk about Deutsche. No. They want to talk about the boy. Why y'all want to talk about Baby Keem? Yo, it was Baby Keem's birthday yesterday. Look, they all going to talk about Drake's birthday and his age today. Not one of them. Yo, that's Baby Keem's birthday. Why haven't we seen it?
The Kendrick Lamar beef was supposed to be just another rap spectacle where Drake could flex his dominance. Instead, it exposed weaknesses in his image that fans had long overlooked. His responses lacked the firepower expected from someone of his stature, while Kendrick's Not Like Us became an anthem that humiliated Drake on a global scale. The memes, the club play, and the cultural takeover all left Drake looking rattled. He tried to reclaim control with more shows and surprise sets, but the energy just wasn't the same. Even his attempts to shade Kendrick on stage came off more desperate than clever, showing that the battle's psychological toll was deeper than fans realized. Every time he spoke on it, social media turned it into a new wave of ridicule. The birthday fiasco, then came the birthday fiasco, a night meant to show strength and celebration that instead turned into another PR disaster. Videos surfaced of Drake acting erratically, surrounded by hangers-on and intoxicated friends. Meanwhile, Akademiks broadcast the chaos on his platforms, narrating it like it was pure entertainment. Fans called it embarrassing, saying both men looked like they had lost touch with reality. Instead of a celebration of success, it became a viral meme storm. Akademiks' decision to go live during the party, making crude jokes and taking shots at other rappers, backfired massively. Viewers began calling him the downfall DJ, mocking how he always seemed to drag whoever he associated with into controversy. The combination of Drake's visible frustration and Akademiks' reckless commentary turned what should have been a milestone moment into another cultural roasting session. The concert rant of Bime. Next blow came during Drake's most recent tour stop where things completely unraveled. Mid-performance, he stopped to address critics, including Kendrick, fans, and media outlets, in a rant that lasted nearly 5 minutes. The audience fell awkwardly silent as he rambled about being the most hated and most needed in the industry.
Some of his friends was tired of him winning. The rap was, they're like, oh, he lost, it's over. Yo, the industry been at an all-time low. The that watched the party, all he did was industry, because nothing been popping since. The industry is down. I was watching Joe Budden podcast. He said, man, the industry fell off since Drake ain't dropped. I heard Elliot Wilson say, these Drake don't even like them. They had to finally admit it, man. The industry ain't without Aubrey, mother.
Clips of that moment spread fast, and the comment sections were brutal. Viewers said it looked like Drake had finally broken under pressure, unable to separate art from ego. Akademiks immediately went online to defend him, claiming the world was bullying Drake and that he was the last real superstar standing. But instead of helping, it just made things worse. Commentators accused Akademiks of enabling Drake's meltdown, encouraging his defensive behavior rather than helping him recalibrate. Even longtime supporters of both figures began stepping back, realizing that their partnership had become toxic to their public image. By now, the narrative was shifting beyond mere criticism. It was turning into ridicule. The cycle of unchecked ego Drake and Akademiks, once symbols of power and influence, had become internet punchlines. The flashy confidence that once drew fans in now looked hollow. Instead of inspiring admiration, their actions were inspiring exhaustion. Every new clip felt like another nail in the coffin of credibility. The more they tried to reclaim control, the more they lost it. Proving that sometimes the biggest downfall doesn't come from enemies. It comes from within. While fans debate what caused this spiral, many insiders believe both are victims of their own unchecked egos. For years, they thrived on being untouchable. Drake as the industry's golden boy who could outsmart any rival, and Akademiks as the loud commentator who could control narratives with a single post. Together, they fed each other's power. Akademiks hyped Drake's wins, while Drake gave Akademiks the validation he craved from the industry that often ignored him. But over time, that relationship became parasitic. Akademiks' constant need to defend Drake blurred the lines between journalism and fandom, while Drake's reliance on Akademiks' platform turned him into part of an internet ecosystem he once avoided. Their connection stopped feeling strategic and started looking like desperation. Both men became symbols of an era where fame and clout override authenticity, and fans could sense it. A crisis of credibility. The biggest issue now is credibility. Akademiks' endless rants against critics, women, and fellow media personalities have alienated much of his audience. His brand, once built on breaking stories, has become synonymous with chaos. On the other side, Drake's public image has taken hits from every direction. the failed beef, awkward performances, and the perception that he's more focused on social validation than musical innovation. Even those who once respected his consistency are questioning whether the throne he held for over a decade is finally slipping. When Akademiks goes online to defend every misstep, it only amplifies that fall from grace. The internet no longer sees them as dominant forces. They see them as cautionary tales about what happens when success breeds arrogance instead of evolution. The irony is that both men once mastered the art of public perception. Drake built his empire by blending vulnerability with dominance, while Akademiks thrived by exposing others while staying untouchable himself. But now, both are trapped in the same cycle of attention-seeking that they used to exploit. The audience that once adored them is now entertained by their downfall, and instead of adjusting, they're doubling down. The toxic feedback loop Drake is now trying to prove he's still the king of relevance, and Akademiks is yelling into the void, desperate to control a narrative that no longer belongs to him. As the culture watches, one truth is becoming clear. What made them powerful is now destroying them. Fame that isn't grounded turns toxic, and attention without growth becomes self-sabotage. Both Drake and Akademiks are learning that the same internet that builds you up will gladly tear you down when you start looking like the villain in your own story. After the public breakdowns, fans and critics began revisiting how this partnership even started and how it turned into something so destructive. Their connection dates back to the mid-2010s, when Akademiks' platform was growing rapidly as the voice of the new generation. Drake, always strategic, saw the power of digital influence and leaned into Akademiks as a way to reach younger fans directly. It worked. For a while, Akademiks amplified Drake's image, creating narratives that painted him as unbeatable, while Drake occasionally dropped cosigns that boosted Akademiks' credibility. Together, they created a feedback loop of hype that dominated hip-hop conversations, mistaking noise for impact. But as time went on, that alliance started breeding arrogance. They began believing their own press, thinking no one could challenge them. But hip-hop evolves fast, and when newer, sharper voices emerged, both struggled to adapt. The tipping point came when Akademiks began using his platform less to report news and more to defend Drake personally. Each feud Drake entered, whether it was Kanye, Pusha T, or Kendrick Lamar, became a battlefield Akademiks waged war on, turning commentary into propaganda. That bias destroyed the trust his audience once had in him. On the flip side, Drake's reliance on Akademiks' online ecosystem made him look like an artist too concerned with chatter instead of legacy. Fans began missing the artist who used to let the music speak for itself. The Drake of 2016, who could drop back-to-back hits and dominate the conversation with skill alone, seemed gone, replaced by someone obsessed with optics and digital reactions. Akademiks, instead of grounding the situation, became the hype man encouraging the downfall. The public spiral as more clips from their recent antics circulated, Akademiks' late-night drunken rants, Drake's awkward crowd interactions, and even passive-aggressive lyrics in unreleased snippets, it became clear that both men were spiraling in public. The confidence they once had turned into defensiveness. The laughter turned into mockery. Even industry insiders who once protected them began distancing themselves. Behind closed doors, labels, sponsors, and collaborators reportedly grew cautious, not wanting to be associated with controversy that was turning toxic. What once looked like dominance now looked like desperation. Both men, surrounded by yes men, appeared blind to how much damage they were causing to their own brands. The real tragedy is how predictable it's all become. In a culture built on evolution and self-awareness, Drake and Akademiks seem trapped in a loop of denial. Instead of growing with the times, they're clinging to past glory, mistaking noise for impact. But the audience has moved on. New artists, new voices, and new media figures are rising, while Drake and Akademiks are stuck trying to remind people they still matter. That insecurity is what's fueling every public meltdown, every awkward rant, and every viral misstep that turns their names into hashtags instead of headlines. Can they bounce back? Now, the question everyone's asking is whether either of them can bounce back. For Drake, redemption is still possible, but it will require silence, reinvention, and humility. 3 things he's rarely shown in the last few years. He's still one of the most talented and successful artists in history, but even legends fall when they stop evolving. Fans want authenticity again, not arrogance disguised as confidence. They want the Drake who spoke through art, not the one ranting on stage about being misunderstood. For Akademiks, the road is steeper. His credibility has been shredded by his own actions. To recover, he'd have to rebuild from scratch, something that would mean stepping away from the chaos he thrives on. The irony is both men could save themselves if they stepped back and let the noise die down, but ego and addiction to attention make that nearly impossible. The collapse of illusion. The culture has seen this pattern before. Artists and influencers who confuse fame with relevance, who believe being talked about is the same as being respected. Drake and Akademiks are the latest examples of what happens when that illusion collapses. Their downfall is less about hate and more about exhaustion. The audience simply got tired of watching two powerful men spiral publicly without accountability. The constant need to prove dominance has made them look insecure. The constant need for validation has stripped away mystique. In an era where transparency is everything, their lack of self-awareness is their biggest weakness. As the dust settles, what remains is a cautionary tale for the culture. No one stays untouchable forever. Even the loudest voices can lose their echo when the crowd stops caring. The same internet that crowned Drake and Akademiks kings is now watching their thrones crumble, one viral clip at a time. Yet underneath the chaos, there's still a lesson. Power without purpose burns fast, and fame without grounding collapses under its own weight. Whether they learn from it or not will determine if this is truly the end of an era or the painful start of a new one. For now, though, the verdict from fans is unanimous. The crash out has been witnessed in full view. The empire built on perception is falling apart piece by piece, on camera and in comments. The only question left is how far the fall will go. That's the full story on how Drake and DJ Akademiks went from dominating the game to spiraling into chaos.